Next is the waterproof valve. I remember last 20 years ago, the valve looks like a paper material on the bottom. After a long period of playing on it, you can see there is a lot of dirty dust stick on the valve and the surrounded slot area. You need to replace it with a new valve. Recently, it changed to a new plastic material and it has an uneven surface on the valve. The whole concept of this is to reduce the contacting point between the valve and the Reedplate in order to reduce the sticky valve situation. But sometimes, when you play on it, it will produce a funny sound like a bumblebee flying in your harmonica. So you need to replace a new valve in order to fix that funny sound. Why are we having this sticky valve situation during our performance? If you are using a metal comb or silver comb for your chromatic harmonica, you need to hold the harmonica on hand to do warm-up for the harmonica before you practice or perform, because the metal comb and the cover temperature are very low, and if you play straight away without warm-up, it will very easily to accumulate water vapor in the chamber. When we blow the air into the harmonica, the air are content of water vapor from our body. It depends on what kind of air pressure that you're producing. If you are playing a short note with fast tempo, it is not easy to accumulate water vapor in the chamber. But if you're playing a slow tempo repertoire and you need to hold a long note for 2 or 3 bars, it can accumulate the water vapor easily and it will stick on the chamber and the valve. If you keep playing on the same note over and over again, the valve will become sticky as the water vapor accumulate too much on the chamber and valve. As an result, you will have a sticky valve situation. The second scenario is some of the players are able to generate saliva easily when they play the harmonica. That will causing a small amount of saliva go into the harmonica. This also causing the sticky valve situation appear when you play on stage. Generally, I will advise my student to keep your heads up so that it won't have the sticky valve situation appear. Usually, the sticky valve situation will appear in my performance very often compared to my practice at home. In my opinion, when we practice at home, the room temperature and the air humidity are different compared on stage. And the temperature also very low on stage compared to our home room temperature. As the temperature is low, our body will automatically keep warm from ourselves. And this also will generate a lot of water vapor when we playing blow note on the harmonica. This material has a very tiny curve on it and it can reduce the contacting point on the Reedplate. I'm using a microscope lens to zoom in and let you see the detail on the material. You can see there is a small square hole on it. I have putting a very thin layer of beeswax on it to make it become waterproof and to prolong the playing period. Let me show you a video on the result after I have put a thin layer of beeswax on the material. The water are unable to stick on the material and this can reduce the sticky valve situation when you perform on stage. On the screw installation part, in total I have brought 6 types of screw to try on it. Before we start on the installation part, let's discuss about the difference between screw and rivet. Most of the reed size are 3.3 mm at the end of the holding part, and the rivet hole is 1.0 mm. If you measure on the rivet head, it's about 1.6 mm as shown in the photo. For screw head size, different screw has different head size. Why we want to measure on the head size? As I found out in F1 tire concept, the width of the F1 tire are very wide, and you may notice most of the F1 tire are without any texture in the normal weather conditions. But our daily car tire, most of them are with texture. As we know, tire with texture are to prevent slippery condition on the road. But why F1 tire is without any texture? According on the research for F1 tire, the reason without any texture on the F1 tire is because it can increase the gripping between the tire and the road. It can hold well and firm when they do a high-speed cornering, and it also can increase the stability when they do high-speed racing. Because the F1 tire is bigger, it can fully holding on the ground to increase the stability whenever they're racing in high speed. So I have drawn out this picture to let you have a look. If you take a look on the original rivet size, to hold on the reeds is just 1.6 mm as shown in the photo, and the holding percentage is about 48% on the reeds. For the screw head size, it has different head size on different screw. I have checked on the bottom of the screw head and found out actually the bottom surface are not flat or smooth. To make sure the screw are holding firmly and fully grip on the reeds, I even added a washer on every single screw to let the pressure spread evenly to the whole reed area. You maybe will say, as the screws are so small and it doesn't have any difference if you add or didn't add on a washer. But as I wanted to make this customization to be as good as possible, I decided to add the washer. Screw type A. I choose this screw because the screw head looks big enough to cover the reeds. I brought this in the very early stage, and I don't know that this screw threads is unable to hold tight on the reeds on Reedplate. It's very loose and can't even hold properly, so this screw is not advised to use. Type B. Few years ago, I got this screw from my Taiwan harmonica friends. Thank you so much for the presents, and this screw is very good. It can hold the reeds and reed plate tight. The downside of the screw is this is not a stainless steel screw. If you want to wash your reed plate, it may be causing rusting on the screw. So I didn't use this screw and decided to buy another type of stainless steel screw. Type C. Allen key stainless steel screw. At first, I brought M1.4 x 3 and decided to use a nut at the bottom to hold it. To avoid the previous issue happen again, I'm using a microscope to see the screw detail. The screw head are looking fine and the screw thread also looking fine. It can hold tight on the reeds and reed plate. I'm so happy as I can continue to install the rest of the reeds on the reed plate. But after a few installations, I found out that the nut is too high and it will hit on the comb. As a result, the reed plate cannot screw tight on the chrome. So this time, it's also wasted a lot of time, as every time when I do ordering screw online, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to reach. If you have noticed in my Facebook post, you can see some of the post gap are very long because most of the time I'm waiting the screw come over. To avoid this happening again, I decided to buy a few type different of screw in one shot to shorten the waiting time. I brought M 1.4 times 2 for type C, D, and E. When I receive it, the first try is on the Allen key. The screw head size is 2.06 mm and the holding area is about 62% compared to rivet 48%. It has increased 14% holding area compared to rivet. The thread's length is 2 mm and it doesn't need to have a nut at the bottom. But due to the screw head height is too high, I still having the same issue that I can't screw tight the Reedplate on the comb. So it is not advisable to use any Allen key on this project. For type D, the shape of the bottom head are in V shape. From the ordering picture, you can see the screws are looking very good in shape and the threads. I'm using a microscope to zoom in to see the screw thread and details. By looking at the screw thread, it doesn't have many issues, but the screw head looks not 100% on shape. As you can see on the corner edge of the screw, it doesn't look in shape. If you unscrew it few times, maybe the texture will be gone. I have tried to screw the ribs and it doesn't hold well. The results are same as type A screw, so this screw is also not advised to use. For type E, it looks good on the ordering picture, and I also using a microscope to zoom in to see the details. The screw head size is 2.42 mm. The holding area on ribs is 73%, and it has increased 25% compared to rivet 48%. The screw threads look fine, but the screw head looks not really nice. The corner edge has the same issue like type D. Maybe after a few times of unscrew, the texture will be gone. I have polished the head and it looks really nice and shining after polishing. At the bottom of the screw head, the surface looks not smooth, and I have added a washer on it. As you can see, the washer itself is very smooth. So when I screw the rib on the Reedplate, the washer can able to press down the pressure evenly on the ribs to the Reedplate. As a result, the tone can be more stable. I also had checked on the height. Compared to Allen key head, type E height is lower, as you can see on the picture. I have finished the installation and put on the waterproof valve on it. It is time to do the tuning and reed adjustment. This process took very long as you need to do the tuning carefully. If you tune too much, the reed is too thin and it will affect the tone. The whole process is about passion and patience to push the limit to the top. But after that, I received another screw from my friend who helped me to do order. It is type F. Oh my god, should I give this a try?